Good morning, everyone. I'll start early, I think, since everyone's here. Welcome to day 2 of Learning Technologies, and welcome to Video Arts Seminar session. I'll explain a little bit more about what we're going to cover in a moment, but I thought I'd start with a quote from John Cleese that you can see here, which dates back to really the beginning of video arts as a business in 1972. And I think that still holds very true today in terms of what we set out to do with content. And that's to make the most entertaining and memorable and effective learning in the business. I think video still allows a complex idea or a demonstration of human behavior to be put across in a short space of time. And that's what we'll be coming back to. And video arts aims to get that message across in a way and a manner using humor that will provide a lesson that learners won't forget. So whether it's streaming, e-learning, or custom-built content, it all adds up to award-winning and longer-lasting content. My name's Martin Addison, and I'm the CEO of Video Arts. And we'll be coming back to me a little later on. But now I'd like to introduce my co-speaker and the theme for today's conversation. And that's Clive Shepherd. Clive, as many of you will know, is a workplace learning and development consultant and specialist with a particular interest in the application of media and technology. And he's worked in and around the business for the last 30 years or so within corporates and more latterly in a consulting role. He's also the author of a brand new book which sold out yesterday. Yeah. More copies available though. And that's called More Than Blended Learning, Designing World-Class Learning Interventions. And Clive was also curator of Video Arts' new Workplace and Management Essentials Library. So Clive, our theme is small videos, big learning, using bite-sized videos to drive behavioural change. Over to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Martin. I'm not going to tell you about that actually the 30-odd years that Martin was talking about. It's actually a bit longer than that. And right at the very beginning of that, I was showing video arts films, but that's making me seem far too old. So I'm going to move on quickly. Anyway, what I'm going to tell you about is a little story, a true story, which goes back about 4 or 5 years now, when I was given the opportunity to do a speaking engagement in Uganda, which was quite a thrill for me to get the chance to go out into Africa for the first time. But this was a United Nations conference, and they had a very definite requirement that anybody who went over on one of these trips had to go through a training program for them about how to, when you take an assignment for the United Nations in any part of the world, what's going to keep you safe and free from harm and healthy, which seems to me like quite a bit of an overkill, considering I was going to be straight from the airport into the compound of a luxury hotel. But nevertheless, because we were going to venture out a little bit into the sort of outskirts of Uganda, it seemed like a good idea. I was actually really interested because I think if you were to think about some of the things that can happen if you are on in strange countries, all sorts of things that they told me could happen. I could be carjacked, or whatever they call it. I could find myself in a riot, that people could try and steal things from me. It might find myself in a war zone. And all of this, while I was sitting there at my computer trying to... okay? Yeah, I think we're okay. I think it's fine, yeah. While I was sitting at my computer, I was thinking, this is going to be really, really exciting because, these are situations which, although slightly edgy and dangerous, it's quite fun to learn about what's involved in, keeping yourself safe and keeping yourself healthy in this environment. And I was looking forward to it. And then as I got into the program, I realized that actually what this was something that we now commonly call compliance training. In other words, I had to go through a very, very long piece of e-learning backed up by something like an 80-question quiz, which I had to score 80% in. And I wasn't going to be able to do this contract in Uganda unless I passed this quiz. And all of a sudden, my sort of engagement with this switched to a sort of frustration because I'm now in a mode of pass the quiz. All of the excitement and interest in the idea of keeping myself health and safety in a strange environment vanished because it was all about trying to think about what sort of things are they going to ask questions about, which is usually going to be quite superficial things that lend themselves to multiple choice questions, and making notes of them so that I wouldn't have to remember them. Not that you could possibly remember all this stuff anyway. And as I say, all of the enjoyment went out of it, and I realized that this was how you kill what would have been otherwise a really enjoyable training program. Now, it's nothing because it was e-learning. That wasn't the problem. If I'd gone into a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation on it, it would have been every bit as horrible. But somehow they missed the idea completely about what they were trying to achieve from this program. I'm sure many of you have got similar experiences. And I think that for me, we're talking about 3 primary types of learning outcomes that we're looking to achieve. One of them is simple knowledge, although, to be honest, it's not very many times when knowledge is really a big requirement in the workplace. Certainly skill is one of the things that we do need to build in people, skills of all sorts, cognitive skills and skills, physical skills and interpersonal skills. But the thing that we very rarely recognize, the category which I think is very often the one that we're aiming at, is what I would call big ideas. You might say it's about key principles or attitude shifts or behavioural change, but I call it big ideas. And in a way, the program that I was asked to complete was had a number of big ideas about it. And one of the ideas was take safety and health seriously when you're on this assignment. Don't just regard this as just a jolly and a chance to go on safari. This is a serious issue, and you should take it seriously because bad things could happen. There were a whole stream of big ideas which it was important that I bought into, not just that I intellectually recognized, but I bought into them. In other words, I had some emotional engagement with those ideas. And that was what the program needed to do. And the program was, very nicely constructed, but what it didn't do is emotionally engage me. It tried to reach me at a sort of cognitive level, and it just is not enough. It's, yes, enough to pass quizzes, but it's not enough to get me to change my behavior. And yet, many of the times our responsibilities in learning and development are about changing behavior. So if we look at some of the strategies that we might use in these different situations, then sometimes just to provide people with knowledge and information, just simple exposition is enough. In other words, give people information in a really nice, clear format and let them read it, watch it, listen to it, or what have you. It's a simple strategy. If it's about skills, it's probably about instruction. It's about demonstration, lots of practice, lots of good feedback, lots of coaching over a period of time. But when you're talking about big ideas, there's only really one way you get people to shift their ideas, and that is through some sort of process of discovery. In other words, people have got to come to the conclusions for themselves. Now, obviously, people might come to those conclusions through their own hard experience or watching the experiences of others, but essentially, as learning development people, we want to accelerate that process. So we're looking for some sort of guided discovery. We're looking at putting people in situations or exposing them to inputs which will get them to reflect and question on what's important for them. And that's really what was missing from this program, and what we've tried very, very hard to put into the video arts programs that I was working on in the last year. And I think that if we look at the sort of human brain in a very simple diagrammatic form, then we're not just this sort of intellectual cognitive animal which human beings have become over the last 50,000 years or so. Right at the base is our reptilian brain is still there. That's driving our simple fight and flight behavior. But the bit in the middle, the limbic system, is essentially driving us emotionally. Now, what's deceiving about that is that it looks like the cognitive bit, the neo-mammalian brain, is much bigger and therefore very dominant over the emotions. But actually, it's the other way around. One way of looking at this, coming back to our African analogy here, is if you can imagine that the elephant here is our sort of emotional drives, and the rider of the elephant on the top there is our sort of cognitive rational cells, then yes, most of the time we do manage to behave ourselves. Most of the time we do get out of trouble. We don't just steal things from people. We don't just hit people. We don't just eat chocolate all day, because we're in control of our, our emotional drives. Even though our emotions are saying, go on, have the chocolate, have the chocolate. The rider of the elephant is trying very hard to stay in control. But this is very hard work. And in the end, if there isn't something for the elephant, if the elephant doesn't feel that they're engaged as well, then, they can, at any time they want, they can throw off the rider and they can go and do whatever they fancy, because they're much bigger. So somehow or other we have to find something in it for people emotionally. So in terms of how does that happen, now I'm not talking about, this picture is not implying that the best way is to shoot people. The word I'm trying to convey here is triggers. And because what you're trying to get is a process of reflection. So through that reflective process, people will come to insights which will change their behavior. And you might do that through activities in a classroom. You might do it through real life experience and coaching. You might do it through some sort of simulation or scenario activity on a computer. But one of the ways that you can achieve that emotional engagement and get people to reflect is to engage them with a storyline which has which is in itself an emotional experience. We get very engaged by stories and by watching people and what's happening to them, and then to reflect on it. So the video arts programs that you're going to hear about today are essentially triggers. They're giving you they're emotionally engaging you in characters that you can believe in, and in stories you can believe in, and then giving you a space to reflect, whether it's on your own or it's with the aid of a facilitator or the aid of some of peer debate in some way. So this reflective process takes time, and it's not necessarily something that's very predictable. You can't. The thing about guided discovery is you don't get 100% certain black and white outcomes. Sometimes it may take people a long time to come to the conclusion you like. Sometimes they may never do that, and but after all, it's their brains and it's their behavior, and it's up to them what they decide to do. But you're not going to change their behavior by just telling them what is good performance and bad performance. They've got to be emotionally engaged in that, and they've got to feel that that's the right thing, almost like they've discovered it for themselves. So that's why I think the videos that you're going to hear about today are an important ingredient in getting that emotional engagement and causing a process of reflection. So at that point, I'm going to hand back to Martin.
So yes, I guess that takes us to the last of Clive's holiday snaps, in case anyone wants that one. But also to a point that he raised, and really back to the point of where John Cleese and that quote I showed at the beginning starts. You need to actually care about the consequence if you're presented with a scenario. And the way that we've always approached that is through engaging and memorable stories. What was slightly different was the perception of doing that in more of a bite-sized manner, but not losing the effect because people feel that it's highly relevant to their current goals or problems in the workplace, or because they identify with the characters or what happens to them, or perhaps recognize traits in themselves or their colleagues as well in those characters. And that's what took us to the development of the Video Arts Essentials series, which we're going to have a look at over the next few minutes. To give you a feel for the series itself. Our aim was really to take the work that we developed with Clive and set out to change workplace behaviour by showing the consequences of effective and ineffective interactions, by creating entertaining characters that everybody can relate to, and by using humour to engage the brain. So, without further ado, let's have a look, if we can, at a selection of those titles.
So we're on the motorway for 9 hours in the baking heat, and by the time we got there, it had completely melted.
Good, good, I'm so glad. So, why did you want to see me?
Well, sometimes I feel like my ideas and suggestions aren't really being listened to.
Which is why you come to see me, to get that sorted, to talk it through. Shoot.
Well, the problem
is that people are more interested in what they're saying than what you're saying. Typical.
Yes, people are. Sometimes it's impossible for me to even reach...
Too fond of the sound of their own voice. That's the problem, isn't it? Imagine how wonderful the world would be if people really listened.
I'm glad you feel like that, because I have something
Take the
important.
boss, for instance. He wants the logo redesigned for next week. I mean, does he sound us out? No.
Getting back to the topic at hand, I sometimes feel like you're waiting for me to finish speaking so that you can say whatever it is that you want to say, and it's not a very communicative relationship.
Maybe a golden swoosh to jazz it up.
I don't quite see how that's going to help us.
Is gold in right now? It's the boss. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I'm looking at that now. Yeah.
What's strange is that he's completely capable of getting it right with the boss. Look, he's taking notes, asking questions.
Yeah, and is that the bruised blue or the blonde blue you wanted?
He seems sat forward and smiling.
I know, it's a hard choice, but I think we're on the right track. I'll look into that.
He's empathising. I don't believe it.
So I'll get those designs worked up, and you can choose your favourite on Wednesday?
Clarifying what's been discussed and the next steps. Perfect listening when it comes to the boss.
Yeah, okay, bye-bye. No, you hang up. Oh, he did. Sorry about that. You were saying?
Our office is about to be sucked into a black hole.
Great, let me know how that goes.
And your hair's on fire. I'm pregnant and it's yours.
Wonderful, good to hear.
Listening is something you do actively. Take notes and ask open questions. Use positive body language and empathise. At the end, summarise and outline the next steps.
Hi, I'm good manager.
And I'm bad manager. So, do you want to tell him, or should I?
Well, I don't want to tell him. Who wants to tell anyone they're not going to get the job?
I quite like it, actually. Anyway, it's Dave. Dave's such a crybaby, isn't he? Do you remember his Christmas party speech? Guys, I'd just like to thank you guys for this amazing opportunity. Oh, idiot. I bet he cries buckets. It'd be a right laugh.
You wanted to see me?
Dave, sit down.
Dave, question. Would you enjoy being a leader?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's the right thing.
Really? You wouldn't enjoy more not being a leader?
Dave, we've had a chance to think who might be the right candidate, and you're very skilled at...
Oh, don't sugarcoat it. He's a big boy, he gets it. Dave, there can be only one head of department, and we've chosen.
Guys, I'd be honoured.
No, sorry. No, it's not you. No, you're gone, mate. Sorry, no, Janet's got it. It's Janet. Not...
Oh, right. Well, that's,
Yeah, that's upsetting, isn't it? Have a little cry if you want.
No, it's just, I'm just really disappointed, you know. I mean, I've done so much with the team last year, you know. I thought you guys would recognise that. You know, I've really been putting the hours in.
If you want to let it out, you just let it out.
I was really excited about next year as well. I was, looking forward to leading the team. And...
Oh, Christ!
Don't worry, it's natural to have an emotional reaction to Dave's emotional reaction. You just have to be prepared.
He loves his team.
But you know what? Janet's a good candidate, I've got to say. I'll look forward to working under her.
Oh, God, he's so gracious with it as well. Oh, God, it breaks my tiny little heart.
When delivering bad news to an employee, prepare yourself first. Have the facts to hand and anticipate both their emotional reaction and your reaction to them. Try writing the first paragraph of what you have to say.
Hi, I'm good manager. Jane here's got a few problems at the moment, so we're having a quiet chat. Hi, I'm bad manager.
I said a quiet chat. So, I can see things are a bit tough at the moment.
My sister's moved to Brighton and she's the one who used to pick Emily up from school. So I've got various friends and neighbours covering, but I just feel like I'm juggling all the time.
Yeah, it's really hard. We had the same with our kids when my wife's mum was ill.
Oh, boo-hoo. Come and cry on my shoulder. Look at how we care. Just tell her what to do. That's what I always do. I'll tell you what I think. Shall I tell you what I think? Yeah. Let me give you some advice. Move to Basildon. One word. Bikram. Get a haircut. It's the gluten. Have you tried hypnotherapy?
You know, the company does allow lots of flexibility.
Yeah, I know I could cut back on my hours, but the extra money really comes in handy.
Yeah, but is that the most important thing to you?
I'm not sure.
OK, well, it sounds like you have a lot of choices to make, so have a think, discuss it at home, and let's get back together next week. Tuesday morning, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
OK. Counselling isn't about giving advice. It's about encouraging them to talk through their problems with open questions, sharing your own experiences. Don't express your views and don't impose solutions. Establish facts and options. And finally, set a review date.
Hi, I'm good manager.
And I'm bad manager.
Managing problem behaviour.
Managing problem behaviour.
We have tools for managing the quality of our work, so why not have tools for managing problem behaviour too?
You're a tool.
Traffic light alerts are ways of rating office behaviour into green, amber and red, so that you can react accordingly and appropriately. Green behaviours are to be encouraged and rewarded, being helpful, polite and innovative, for instance. Amber behaviours develop negativity in the workplace. Listening to rumours or turning a blind eye to bullying can be amber behaviours. Red behaviours are behaviours that damage the clients, colleagues or company, like aggressive behaviour. So green behaviours should be celebrated, amber behaviours nipped in the bud and red behaviours disciplined. Excuse me. Hey! Talk to your teams about green, amber and red behaviours in the workplace. Discuss how they affect customers, colleagues and the company and make it clear how they will be dealt with. Green behaviour is to be encouraged and celebrated. Amber behaviour fuels red behaviour and should be nipped in the bud. Red behaviour can damage customers, colleagues or the company and should be dealt with seriously.
Hi there, I'm good manager.
And I'm bad manager, and today I'm presenting the last quarter's figures. So, the last quarter was pretty successful. We saw an increase in turnover.
Hi, Robert.
In
Yeah. Nothing important, carry on. Oh, really? It's Robert. He's saying Arkwrights might be making a move on you-know-who.
Oh, really? How interesting.
Increase in last quarter
Julie thinks
figures,
that's
which
really
clearly
interesting.
which clearly...
Speak to you later. Ciao. Oh, no, there was one more thing.
Which clearly show that nobody is bloody listening to me. So, I suggest you stop texting your boyfriend, you turn your bloody phone off, and you all start listening to what I have to say. Right, last quarter's turnover increasing
Let's just dial it back a bit.
Ah, but they didn't listen to a word I was saying.
Yeah, because first you tried to be submissive and they walked all over you, and then you tried to be aggressive and that got their backs up. There's a middle way. It's called being assertive. OK, so what these quarterly figures actually mean for the business is that...
Hi, Robert. Yeah, spill the beans.
Look, I don't want to be rude, but your mind's obviously not on what we're doing.
Oh, yeah, sorry, it's just that one of our competitors is really
Well,
trying...
whatever it is, I'm happy to rearrange this presentation for a time that's more suitable to you. Or equally, I'm happy to carry on. Just let me know.
Point taken. Please carry on.
OK, so what these quarterly...
Ah! You got told, Henry.
Being submissive avoids conflict, but you won't be respected. Be aggressive, and you won't get treated like a doormat, but you will get everyone's back up. Assertive behaviour offers you the best chance of getting what you want. Deal honestly, openly, and fairly with people, and they'll treat you in the same way.
there's an introduction to the Essentials series where there are actually 70 trigger videos, as Clive referred to them at the beginning, which are divided between workplace essentials and management essentials. And that's a collection that will continue to grow. It's also worth noting that as well as the development of the video-based content, we've also created 22 SCORM compliant and Tin Can API friendly e-learning courses. And that's given us a chance to look at grouping the videos and using a tool that's been developed with our technology partner NetX to really provide, I think, a much more grown-up approach to e-learning in the form of a more interactive e-book with video. So users get a chance to look at a trigger video. They then get a chance to think and actually reflect on what they have done in the past and perhaps bring that into the mix. They then have a chance to practice, to take a quiz, more of a game element, and then there's a chance to remember and print off infographics and other information. So that's something that, in terms of content for an LMS environment or a video environment via our on-demand platform, has been working very well over the last few months since launch. And we're going to actually finish with a quick taster of the e-learning content for you right now.
One of the best ways of managing your time is to organise your work, and the first step is to cut the clutter.
Cut the clutter, exactly.
So there we are. There's a very brief taster of the Essentials e-learning collection. We're actually on stand 124. So if any of you would like a chance to come and see how those courses are worked and have a look for yourselves, then you can do that. Thanks for everyone for attending, and especially thanks for Clive as well for his work today. Thank you.